Oh, my dear delusional friend, so you sent a message and got left on read? What a surprise. Because obviously, the person you're into must be super busy saving the world and doesn't have time to reply to you. But how curious. They managed to post stories like photos, reply to everyone, except you. What a mystery, huh? Could it be that they're ignoring you on purpose? Nah, must just be a WhatsApp glitch. And then comes the classic moment of the emotionally desperate fool, that deep dive into self-pity, wondering, what did I do wrong? The answer? Simple. You exist. And apparently that's already enough of a mistake for them to treat you like a billboard on the highway. It's there, but no one cares. But hold on. Take a breath. This circus of humiliation ends today. Because there's a secret no one tells you, but I will. Because I'm an angel of truth. The more you grovel, the less worthy of attention you become. The more you beg for crumbs, the more you turn into, well, an emotional beggar. And emotional beggars don't inspire desire, just pity. And let's be honest, sometimes not even that. I know. It hurts to hear this. But you know what hurts more? Continuing to humiliate yourself and being ignored like you're a spam email in their inbox. And if you keep going down this path, sending messages, liking all their photos, desperately trying to start conversations like your life depends on it, oh my dear, the most predictable thing in the world will happen. A big, fat nothing. They'll keep ignoring you with the same dedication a teenager ignores their homework. Now open those doormat ears wide. If you really want to change the game, there's only one thing to do. And no, it's not being nicer or trying to impress them with bad jokes or philosophical texts in their DMs. The solution is to disappear. That's right. Vanish. Become a ghost. Turn into a myth. Absolute silence is the kryptonite of an inflated ego. When the person who's been ignoring you realizes you're no longer available as their emotional doormat, that's when they'll start wondering, where's that fool who always gave me attention? And that, my dear ex-fool, is when the tables turn. But before we go any further, one crucial detail. This video only reached you because someone had the decency to like and subscribe. So, do your part. Don't just absorb this slap in the face for free. Like, subscribe, and comment a nice "thank you, algorithm." Because at the end of the day, it's the algorithm that decides whether more people will escape this pit of humiliation or not. Now, without further ado, grab your notebook and take notes. Because the truth no one tells you starts now. Why does chasing make you invisible? Oh, my dear professional chaser, have you ever wondered why chasing never works? Why the more you scream, "Notice me for the love of God," the less attention you get? And why, the moment you give up and disappear, the creature from beyond suddenly remembers you exist? Simple. What's guaranteed doesn't spark desire. The human brain is basically a spoiled child. It wants what it can't have. And you, congratulations, have become that old toy thrown in the corner of the room, always available, always there, with no excitement attached. Now think about it. If every time this person opens WhatsApp, there you are with a "Hey, stranger." Wow, so creative, huh? If every time they post a story, you react with a fire emoji, so original. If every time they disappear, you show up like a needy ghost trying to start a conversation, guess what? You've become nothing. Invisible. A stain on the scenery. Like ugly wallpaper no one pays attention to. You know why? Because humans have this wonderful instinct to value what seems scarce and unattainable. Now think about it. What has more value? That exclusive, limited edition perfume only sold in a distant country? Or that cheap deodorant any pharmacy has on the shelf? Exactly. And here's the cherry on top of the mistake cake. Thinking persistence equals interest. It doesn't. Interest is charming. It's attractive. Desperation, my friend, is simply the ultimate reverse aphrodisiac. Now tell me, who do you respect more? The person who has their own life, who replies when they want, who seems secure and interesting, Or the one who's always there, like a needy puppy, waiting for a crumb of attention? Exactly. The reality is cruel. But let's face the facts. No one ignores what truly matters. If this person ignores you and you keep chasing, congratulations. You're just proving you have nothing interesting to offer. You're confirming you're a cookie without filling, a party without music, a movie without an ending. But don't worry, not all is lost. Now that you've taken this slap in the face, let's move on to the solution. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you do the exact opposite. When, instead of playing the needy fool, you disappear. When, instead of begging for attention, you ignore. And that's where the magic happens, the shock of silence. Get ready, because now things are about to get good. And who would have thought? This time it's not for the other person. It's for you. The shock of silence. How does her brain react? Now comes the most beautiful part of the story. The shock of silence. You, who until yesterday were a virtual puppy, always ready to reply, like, react, drool, and say, good morning, simply. Disappear. Vanish from the map. Vanish from the radar. Vanish like paid bills. No one sees you anymore. And that's when her mind short-circuits. You know why? Because this creature got used to your predictable presence. You were that annoying elevator music always there, always playing, always ignored. But now, silence. That morning message? Gone. That automatic like on her photo? Traveled to Narnia. That needy little reaction to her stories? Turned to cosmic dust. And that's when her ego, spoiled and used to your devotion, starts screaming, "Huh, where is he?" And here's where the magic of human psychology kicks in. The brain hates uncertainty. Until yesterday, you were a predictable fool, an extra in a bad soap opera. Now, out of nowhere, you're gone. That doesn't make sense to her. And when something doesn't make sense, what happens? Her mind goes into Sherlock Holmes mode. Did he lose interest? Did he meet someone else? Did I mess up? Boom! And that's when the game starts to turn. And before you think this is just cheap motivational talk, let me give you a little science lesson. This is called cognitive dissonance. When her brain realizes that reality doesn't match expectations, it goes into total discomfort mode. She was absolutely sure she could ignore you at will, because you'd always be there, licking the ground she walks on. But now, that certainty is gone. And what happens when people lose certainty? They start obsessively seeking answers. And the best part? The fewer answers they find, the more anxious they get. And that's when one of the biggest psychological triggers of humanity kicks in. The fear of loss. Before, you were an old keychain she carried without even noticing. Now you're gone, and suddenly she feels like she might have lost something valuable. And then, magically, she starts remembering you. She starts missing you. She starts stalking your social media. She starts wondering if you're with someone else. And then, my friend, comes the cherry on top. She wants to regain control. Now there's a crucial detail. If you reply too soon, if you go back to being the same old puppy, all this magic effect disappears in the blink of an eye. If you slip up and reply to her first, "Hey stranger," that's it. You're back to being that boring cookie that can be ignored at any moment. And that's exactly why, now, I'm going to teach you how to execute silence in the most lethal way possible. Get ready, because now you're going to learn how to turn the game around for good. How to execute the perfect silence and finally stop being the clown of the story. Alright, now that you understand that disappearing has a devastating impact on the ego of the person who's been ignoring you, here's the most important part. Doing it right. Because, my dear ex-fool, it's no use disappearing for a day and then reappearing with a, "Hey, I missed you." That's basically signing your fool certificate and going back to the line of emotional rejects. If you really want to turn this game around, you need to follow clear, non-negotiable rules. If you mess up even one of them, you know the drill. Back to the bench of the ignored team. So, open those ears wide and take notes, because this is your last chance to stop being made a fool. Rule 1. Do not reply to anything. Yes, nothing, 0. Seems obvious, Well, this is where 99% of idiots trip and fall flat on their faces. But what if she likes my photo? Ignore it. What if she views my story? Ignore it. What if she sends a random hi? Depends. If it's a dry hi, soulless, no effort, pretend you didn't even see it. If it's something more elaborate, like, "Hey stranger, how are you?" then you can reply. But take your time and keep it emotionless. Now here's the most important part. The silence can't seem like revenge. It has to seem like indifference. If it looks like you're playing games, she'll notice, and boom, your power evaporates. If it looks like you've simply lost interest, she'll panic. And that, my dear, is much more powerful. Rule 2. Show that you're busy, even if you're not. Look, if you think disappearing from WhatsApp while posting depressing quotes on your status will help, forget it. If you want the silence to work, it has to look like your life is moving on normally, or better yet, moving on even better without this person. But hold on, smarty pants, don't overdo it. If you post 10 stories a day trying to look so happy, it'll just look desperate. What to do? Went out with friends? Post a casual photo. No cheesy captions. Hit the gym. A mirror selfie. No motivational essays. Random song? Go ahead and post. But no subtweets, no drama. The secret is to seem natural. Like you're so busy living your life that you don't even have time to miss anyone. And that's where the magic happens. If this person is already starting to miss you, this will fuel their curiosity. Because before you were there, predictable, available, ready to reply in 3 seconds. Now you're gone, and on top of that you seem to be doing well. That creates doubt, and doubt creates interest. Rule 3. If they start a conversation, don't seem eager. Here's the big test. If you've applied the silence correctly, at some point they'll reach out. It could be a random hi. It could be a comment on something you posted. It could be a like on an old photo. And that's when 99% of ex-fools go back to being fools. If you see that notification and reply in the same second, all your effort goes down the drain. What you can't do, reply immediately, like you've been anxiously waiting. Show relief, like, finally you're talking to me. Pathetic. Be cold and dry, thinking it'll make them want you more. It won't. It'll just make you seem childish. What you should do, wait a bit before replying. You're busy, remember? Reply naturally, without overdoing the excitement. Act like nothing happened, like it's just another random message. The goal here isn't to be cold, it's to be untouchable. If this person senses that something's changed but can't quite figure out what, that's when the interest starts to grow. Now here's the most important moment of all. Now that you've regained control, how do you make sure you never get treated like an option again? Get ready. Because now comes the final reality check. The final lesson. Don't be a fool who uses silence as a trick. Now that you understand the power of silence, I need to give you one last slap in the face. Because I know exactly what's going to happen to most of you. You'll apply all of this perfectly. You'll disappear. You'll pretend you have a life. You'll leave the other person intrigued, anxious, curious. And then, at the first, "Hey stranger" you get, you'll reply in 5 seconds, grinning from ear to ear, full of hope. And that's it, game over. And why did you lose the game? Because now they're absolutely sure you were never a real challenge. They realize it was all just a cheap trick. And you know what happens when someone realizes you're just playing games? They lose interest again. And worse, now they ignore you with even more conviction. You know why? Because no one is attracted to a cheap little manipulator. Silence isn't a game. It's a mindset shift. If you do all of this just to manipulate the other person and make them chase you, it might work for a while. But it won't last. Because the real goal of silence isn't to make the other person chase you. The real goal is to make you become someone who doesn't need to chase anyone anymore. The difference between fools and those who really got the lesson. The fool who uses silence as a game, deep down they're still needy. They're just holding back their reply to see if it works. They keep checking their phone every second, hoping for a message. If the person takes too long to reply, they panic. The guy who really understood the power of silence doesn't care. He replies when he wants because he has other priorities. He's truly living, not pretending to be okay. And now I ask you, who do you think is more attractive? The desperate fool, putting on a little show to try and win back their attention? Or the guy who has such a good, interesting life that he simply doesn't need anyone's validation? The big shift. Silence can't be a temporary strategy. It has to be a reflection of who you really are. If you've understood this, congratulations, because now you'll never be ignored in life again. And to wrap it up with a bow, now I want to see who really got this lesson. If you've grasped the essence of this, comment below. I'll never chase again. And let's see who's finally left the fool category. The final warning, you either learn or you stay a fool. If you've already fallen into the trap of chasing, if you've sent a message and been left on red, if you've experienced the supreme humiliation of being ignored and still kept chasing like a desperate fool, comment below. I'll never chase again. I want to see who really got this lesson and who's going to keep crawling in the mud of rejection. Now pay attention, because this is where you choose your destiny. Ignore everything I've said and keep being treated like a disposable option. Congratulations, you'll spend the rest of your life as someone's emotional doormat. To put this into practice, regain your value and start being seen in a new light. Oh, look at that. Maybe you'll finally seem like someone worth it. The choice is yours. Now, if this video opened your mind and you want more slaps in the face like this, do this. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. Send this video to that fool friend who still doesn't get the game. Because the truth is simple. The less you chase, the more people start chasing you. And those who don't get that, well, they'll spend their whole lives playing the fool. See you in the next video. Until then, stay silent.